So let's talk about vehicle depreciation. Okay, so first, what is depreciation? Well, if you've ever heard somebody say that when you drive a vehicle off a lot, it loses half its value, that's because new car, as we can kind of guess, new car is more expensive than an old one. Right? Second, it's a used car. It's not old, used. It's a used car, it's worth less. But there's a rate at which that happens, right? Because, a 1-year-old car will be worth more than a 2-year-old car, worth more than an 8-year-old car, etc., etc. There will be a rate at which that value goes down. Okay? And we call that rate the depreciation rate. Okay? So we could say that depreciation is the decrease of an item's value over time. And then the depreciation rate is the rate at which an item's value decreases. Okay? And then finally, when you're done depreciating an asset, we get down to the last thing we need to know about, which is the resale value, sometimes also called the residual value. Okay, and that's how much it is worth, how much an item is worth after it is depreciated. Okay, so 3 big definitions to remember here, but we're going to go over an example. I just want to go over these so that you kind of know where I'm going and what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these examples. But let's take a look at this example to make it a little bit easier on us. Okay, so our example laid out here. So a new car is sold for $35,500. So this is probably important. Why don't we write this down? $35,000. Okay, that's including taxes. So again, we're just assuming taxes are in there. Great. Calculate the depreciation, so how much the value goes down, and the car's resale value, so how much it is worth at the end of the first 3 years. Okay, and we have the depreciation rates here. Depreciation rate is 20% for the first year and 15% for each year after that. This is pretty common in that in the first year or so, the car loses the most value it will lose in a year, and then the amount that the value decreases by gets smaller each year after that, because the difference between a 0-year-old car that's just off the lot and a 1-year-old car is very different from the difference between an 8-year-old car and a 9-year-old car. Like, if they're still running, not much difference there. Big difference here. Okay, especially in the price. So to actually do this, first we need a depreciation rates as decimals. So we have 20% as one of our depreciation rates. That's just the first year. And we need to convert that to a decimal. So we just take this and we divide it by 100%. Okay, gets rid of the percent, shifts over the decimal, we get 0.2. Same thing for the other years at 15%. Same process, divide by 100%. We get 0.15. Okay, so we're going to do this in first year, second year, third year. Right, we'll have year 1 first, and then we'll do year 2, and then year 3. This is how depreciation works. You kind of do it every year. right? You can put it all together in one equation. I'm just showing you how to do it step by step. Okay, so first you find the value that it depreciates by. So how much does it go down by? So we find 20% of this number. In other words, we multiply it by the decimal, 0.20, since it's the first year. That's our rate for the first year. And that gives us a depreciation of $7,000. Okay, so that's how much the value goes down. So in terms of our resale for this year, we have to decrease the 35,000 by the depreciation. So 35,000 minus 7,000, which will give us a new value going into the next year of 28,000. Okay? So now we're going to year 2, and the car is no longer worth 35,000, it's worth 28,000. Right? So if you think about how percent works, you should start thinking, well, not only is this percent lower, but this number is lower too, which means that the actual cash value I'm losing is also going down. Okay? So we then do the same thing, multiply it by the 15% this time as decimal, since it's the later years, it's 15% instead of 20. This gives us 4,200 as our depreciation. You'll notice a lot less lost in the second year. And then, of course, we decrease our retail sale price of this car by the depreciation, 4,200, and that'll give us our new sale price of this car, 23,800. Okay, and we just kind of keep this going. Last year here, year 3, this is the one we really care about. We are starting with a value of 23,800. So $23,800. Okay, and we're going to be multiplying that in the same way, 0.15 to get our depreciation. Okay, so we find that as 3,570. Okay, and then finally that's our last depreciation, so we just take that off of our sale price here, our current resale price, 23,800 minus $3,570, which will give us 20,230. Okay, so we were asked to find two things specifically, the depreciation and the car's resale value. Okay, so in terms of depreciation, if we look at this value, and this value, those are the ones that we found for the depreciations. So if we wanted the total depreciation, how much value it's lost over the 3 years, we just need that total. So depreciation equals the total of 7,000 plus 4,200 plus 3,570. Right? Because if we add all these up, we should find our total depreciation of that period. This is how much money we left out in the first year, the second year, and of course the third year. Okay, so we add all of these up, and we get a total of 14,770. Okay, so that's how much the car's value has gone down. And then the last bit here, we were asked just about the resale value. And the resale value is just whatever the value is at the end. So the value at the end is 20,230. And we can rewrite that down here just for clarity's sake. Resale value equals $20,230. And there we go. So I've just got one more thing to show you. And it's just a simple trick just to shorten up these questions just a little bit. So let's say that we have, just to set up a question here. Okay, so that's the same kind of question. Sam purchases a used truck for $10,500. What will Sam's truck be worth after 2 years? Assuming the depreciation rate is 10% a year. So here's the little trick here. So we know that we would need 10% stuck into a decimal, which we divide by 100 to get 0.1. Okay. The only trick here that we're going to use is we're going to do this a little bit backwards to save us a step. Okay. So what we do is we take 1, just the number 1. This represents a whole, right? So you multiply something by 1, you get itself. So this is the entire value. So if we subtract our percent here, in this case 0.1, this is like saying taking away 10%. Okay, so it's taking away that 10%, and we're left with 0.9 or 90% technically. Okay, so we are now going to use this in place of our depreciation rate. And here's how it goes. So we have year one, and we have $10,500. And now we're going to multiply by the 0.9. Because what we're really saying is we're going to multiply this by the rate, which is, of course, the entire value less 10%. Okay, we do that math, we get $9,450. And here's the cool thing about this math. That is the resale value at the end of that year. It's not the depreciation, because we've built that into the equation now. We've just skipped a step, which means we can now do year two. Same thing, 9,450 from the previous year, multiplied by 0.9 gives us 8,505, which is our resale value and how much it's worth at the end of those years. Okay, so a real simple little trick that will shorten up your calculations quite a bit. You don't need to use it. You can use the previous method. Do whatever you need to do to make it work for you. But this is just me showing you another way to do it, and me finishing showing you how to do depreciation on a vehicle.